My name is Elfera. I will be presenting the chapter 1 and 2 of the report. So chapter 1 includes introduction, background of study, statement of problem, purpose of study, proposed research hypothesis, proposed research framework, and also significance of study. So first of all, the introduction of the report. So the rise and proliferation of social media use has revealed that young people are vulnerable to poor physical and emotional health outcome as a result of excessive social media use. So the proposed study sought to conduct quantitative research on the issue of young people's use of social media by examining the relationship between belongingness need, in-group identification, wellness, and social network use. So next, the background of the study. The internet and social media have become an important widespread part of many people's life. So teens and young adults, they engage the internet or social media activities reap various rewards. So a little study has been done on the social contextual process that may influence young people's use of social media. Furthermore, the statement of problem. There is growing amount of evidence linking inappropriate internet of social media use to poor psychological health. So this population is attempting to resolve an identity crisis by defining who they are and where they are heading in their life through their social media profiles, which reflect their identities. Young adults and teenagers look for a sense of belonging, acceptance, reciprocal love among their peers. Moreover, the purpose of study. The goal of the suggested study was to look at the relationship between social contextual elements, belongingness, demands, in-group identification, and wellness in teens and young adults, as well as how they relate to social media use. This study may improve social media use prediction by identifying, understanding the origins and consequences of social contextual variable, as well as further refining our present understanding and knowledge of problematic social media use and overuse among young people. The following research problems were investigated as well as associated hypotheses. You can see as shown in the slide down below. So other than that, the proposed research hypothesis. The answer of the research question could be useful in defining the link between belongingness demands, in-group identification, bad health effects, and also problematic social media use. In addition, the proposed research framework. When these two theoretical frameworks are combined, developmental theories argue that teenagers are marked by a strong focus on identity consolidation, whereas social identity theory claims that group membership is an important source of self-esteem, with the need to belong driving social identification with important reference group. So teenagers is characterized by relatively high period of social identity development, which is driven by a strong demand for belonging and group identification according to this perspective. So teenagers and young adults who use internet and social media in harmful ways may be driven by strong need to belong and identify with a group in order to boost their self-esteem. Lastly, the significance of the study. The research is significant since it has implication in a number of areas. It could help teenagers and young adults recognize and understand what social context elements lead to social media overuse. The study clarifies how social reasons may play a role in problematic social media use among teenagers and young adults from a theoretical standpoint. So the research could possibly add to the body of knowledge in psychology. The majority of the research has been on the degree of problematic internet use and its psychological effect on depression, anxiety, and other negative emotional health outcomes. So the finding of this study will add the body of knowledge and highlighting the potential implication for practice and parenting with teenagers and young adults. Next is Chapter 2. So Chapter 2 includes literature review, problematic social media use, effects of problematic social media use, personality and life satisfaction correlates of social media use, and theoretical framework. So first of all, the literature review or the overview. So this chapter presents an overview of the literature of the topic of problematic social media use among teenagers and young adults. The initial portion of this chapter summarizes past research on problematic internet and social media usage, which is structured according to the main topic in the study literature. Next, the problematic of social media use. Firstly, teenagers and social media use, such as unfavorable impacts include sleep deprivation, focus issues, and learning deficiency. Their privacy and confidentiality may be jeopardized. Secondly, social networking. Youth with low relationship characteristics and who spend more time on social media messaging report less depression over time. So the networking may help youths to securely investigate choices for social support, but browsing appears to give no such benefits. Hence, that's the effects of problematic social media use. Firstly, psychological effects. Social media has become an integral element of people's lives and integral aspect of our early 21st century environment. So several research in various contexts have studied and established the link between problematic internet usage, depression, and anxiety in recent years. So secondly is physical effects. So many negative physical impacts of social media use, such as weight gain, eye strain, bad posture, and poor circulation, can be attributed to sleep deprivation. So the physical effects in terms of sleep quality and problematic social media usage. Moreover, the personality and life satisfaction correlates of social media use, such as personality and social media, narcissism and self-esteem, life satisfaction and social media use, attachment style and social media use, personality style and social media use, and also coping styles. Lastly, the theoretical framework. Teenagers is defined by considerable focus on identity consolidation, but social identity theory contends the group membership is an essential source of self-esteem, with the urge to belong driving social identification with important reference group. So high and problematic social media use among teens and young adults may be due to their comparatively high need to engage with their social world through friends, peer groups to establish their own sense of identity, which motivated by high need for belonging and deriving self-esteem from membership in value in group. So thank you. That's it from me. So we will move on to the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rainun and I will present and share about the Chapter 3 Research Methodology. In this study, both primary and secondary data collection were used. For primary data collection, questionnaires were distributed among random teens and young adults ages between 14 to 39 years old. As for secondary method, the data were collected through published research and journals. A quantitative cross-sectional research design was used to address the study's research objective and hypothesis, with teens and young adults being put on the level of internet and social media use, need for belonging in group identification, and psychological well-being. The study is using quantitative research method. Quantitative approach focused on objective measurements and statistics statistical, mathematical, or numerical analysis of data acquired through questionnaires and surveys. Quantitative research is concerned with collecting numerical data and generalizing it across groups of people. For research instruments, teens and young adults aged 14 to 39 years old answered 56 questions in a series of survey questionnaires with many portions to assess each of the study's themes. Problematic social media use, self-esteem, need to belong, and in-group identification were among the ideas studied. The Internet Addiction Test, developed by Young in 1998, was used to assess Internet and social media use among teens and young adults. Each question was made using a 5-point Likert scale, where 1 equals to strongly disagree, 2 disagree, 3 equals to neutral, 4 equals to agree, and 5 equals to strongly agree. The research focused on teenagers and young adults between the ages of 14 to 39. All participants were recruited using simple random sampling technique, where the researcher released a Google form link inviting internet and social media users aged 14 to 39 to participate in an online survey. There were no limits on sex, race, ethnicity, or other criteria. Solely that they were between the ages of 14 and 39, that was the only need.
Hi, my name is Emillia Benjamin. Today I will presenting Chapter 4, Data Analysis and Findings. The subtopic covered in Chapter 4 including frequency distribution, cross-tabulation, and scale measurements. From the table, we can see that more female respondents than males fill out the questionnaire. About 67.3% were female and 32.7% were males. The second respondent profile is about their age. From the table, we can see there are 4 age groups. The highest respondents are from 14 to 20 years old, about 34%. The second respondent age group from 21 to 26 years old, about 28.2%, and the lowest age between 34 to 39 years old, only 14.7%. The third respondent profile is about their background, ethnic background. There are 6: Malay, Chinese, Indian, Sabahan, and Sarawak, and others ethnic. So from the table, we can see the highest percent is 48.1% were Bumiputra Sabah. This indicates that the majority of respondents are from Sabah. For cross-tabulation, we want to analyze between gender and age. The most respondents are female, with 39 out of 156 respondents aged between 14 to 20 years old. Next, cross-tabulation to understand and analyze the respondent week spent on social media. Okay, from the figure, we can see most respondents spend about 6 to 15 hours per week on social media. This is from 14 to 20 years old age group. For reliability analysis, our group has 3 variables to indicate in-group identification, IG, need to belong, NTB, and internet addiction test, IAT. Okay, we'll look to the figure. That is the summarized for scale reliability analysis for each variable, IG, NTB, and IAT. The result, each of the variable Cronbach alpha show on 0.84 to 0.95, which mean all are excellent indication of construct reliability in research instruments. Because 0.8 above indicate excellent result. A Bayesian correlation is to examine relationship between variables. As I mentioned before, our group have 3 variables. Our first variables, which is independent variables, is internet addiction test, IAT. Our dependent variables is in-group identification, IG, and we have mediator, need to belong, NTB. NTB is our mediator. The present collected data result reveal statistically significant correlation between the 3 variables, between IV to DV, IV to mediator, and next mediator to DV. From the table, we can see the significant is two-tail result, which is 0.000, which is significant between IAT and IG, IAT and NTB, also significant, and last between NTB to IG, also two-tail significant. That's all for correlation. For descriptive statistic, the variables measured by 5-point Likert scale from disagree to medium, neutral, and number 5 strongly agree. Okay, let's see the table. From the table, the standard deviation measures the consistency of respondents for a particular variable. Now look at the mean figure. The average rating 3 is considered as a neutral response from respondent. That's all for descriptive statistic. Next, for multiple regression analysis, this is to analyze results between IV to DV, and then from IV to mediator, last from mediator to DV. Okay, this is first table between IV to DV. The results show significant between variables. Okay, we can see from the table it's 0.000. Okay, next table from IV to mediator. Our IV is internet addiction test towards need to belong. Also show results significant between variables. Okay, last table number 3 for multiple regression is between need to belong, mediator, to in-group identification as our DV. So the result also shows significant from each variable. So from table 1, 2, and 3 is significant to each variables. That's all for multiple regression. For my last slide, which is hypothesis testing. Hypothesis testing, as we know, is a form of statistical inference that uses data from a sample to draw a conclusion about a population parameter or a population probability distribution. Okay, let's see the table. Okay, from the table, our group have 4 hypotheses: 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can read from that table. Okay, for hypothesis, our first hypothesis, it is not supported. Second hypothesis is supported. Third hypothesis supported, and last, fourth hypothesis is not supported. Okay, that's all from chapter 4. Thank you.
Hi, it's me again, Rainun, and now I will be sharing about the conclusion and recommendation. This study aimed to gain a better understanding of the relationship between young people's use of social media, and social context variable, the need to belong, in-group identification, and self-esteem. The survey's findings reveal that the overall goal is to accomplish the suggested objective and offer pertinent responses to the study questions. 156 respondents in the ages between 14 to 39 responded to a questionnaire via Google Link. According to the study, women made up the majority. The viewpoints of social identity theory by Touchfeld and Erickson's identity development theory serve as the foundation for the theoretical framework used in this study. According to social identity theory, people have collective identities based on their membership in a group, such as racial or ethnic identities and gender identities. People favor a group they strongly identify with because they derive respect from it. According to Erickson's view, we evolve in a psychosocial level throughout our lives. Erickson proposed that our concept of self, or what he called the ego identity, is affected by how we connect with others. In order to increase their feeling of self-worth, teens and young adults who use the internet and social media in harmful ways may be driven by a strong urge to belong and identify with a group. In order to answer the study's research objective and hypothesis, a quantitative cross-sectional research design was used. Several inferential statistics were used to examine the participant survey data. Regression and correlational analysis were used to assess the study's hypothesis. As a conclusion, teens and young adults now use social media extensively in their daily lives. However, frequent use of social media can turn into a dangerous addiction, and even occasional use can have negative effects on health. The recommendation that researchers can point out from this study is that to focusing on assisting teenagers and young adults in dealing with the effects of their addiction, facing the potential causes of their addictive behavior, and identifying strategies that may help them better limit their social media use and maintain a healthier relationship with online media. Thank you. That is all from us.